So it's been quite an eventful week in Destiny, and I'm going to go over a few points that I found quite interesting that's just unraveled. Without further ado, I'm going to go over the TWID and probably some other external stuff as well that I've seen, because it's a little bit to talk about what happened this week. So probably at the top of everybody's list is the new raid date that we've got. So Friday the 1st of September is going to be when the returning raid, probably Crota's End, is actually going to make an appearance into Destiny. I'm not sure about everybody else, but this actually irritates me a bit because we normally have the raid the same week that the season comes out. So literally the season starts on the Tuesday and then we have the new raid come the Friday because they changed the date to Fridays, which works with the power scaling where they're not increasing the pinnacle cap, because if you're staying at 1810 pinnacle, you can literally just run the raid the same week. However, now they've seemed to set it back, so it's 2 weeks away, which I don't really understand why this was done. It doesn't really make a lot of sense why they'd push it back. So the only thing I can kind of entertain the idea of is if they're going to increase the pinnacle cap to 1820, which if they did, then this makes sense, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen or not. And Bungie does state that exactly like King's Fall and Vault of Glass, there will be a contest mode where you actually have to clear the raid the first time round, and then there will be a secret triumph which contains a bunch of challenges that you have to do in challenge mode afterwards. That's only if you're going after the world's first tile, but in all honesty, you could probably just beat this day one and be done with it. I can imagine there's going to be quite a people who just try it for the fun of it though. And exactly like King's Fall of Autoglass, if you fail the challenge, then your team will wipe and you'll have to start over again. Here's something interesting that is also mentioned on the TWID, which I was actually going to talk about something extra because it was a separate announcement as well. We're going to be changing the caps for the resources, which is going to be for Ascendant Shards, Ascendant Alloys, and Enhancement Prisms, which I think overall this will be welcomed by the community because a lot of the time we are getting fed up with the max cap being 10 for Ascendant Shards and 50 for the Prisms. They tend to spill over into the Postmaster, and it's always a kick in the nuts when this get deleted for like a Legendary engram. But something else that's coming along which might not be welcomed as much is that the resources can no longer stack in the Postmaster. And I think the way that Bungie described it was, it basically will behave like the Glimmer does now, so when you hit the cap, you won't actually get them at all anymore. Which means if you have a cap of 30 Ascendant Shards, then you cannot get any more on any other characters. But there is a side note to this, if you actually have any stacks that are already in the Postmaster, they aren't going to be going anywhere, you can claim them as you get them. But like the counterpoint to this as well is, why would you need more than 30 Ascendant Shards and more than 100 Prisms? Like if you have a cap of 30 Ascendant Shards and 100 Enhancement Prisms, then clearly you're not using them, so it's not really going to be a downside if you don't get any more. Another nice little touch that is there that I'm actually curious and also welcoming at the same time is the exotic Dead Man's Tale is going to be removed from Xur's wares and put into the exotic mission rotator. But not only that, they're actually going to make Dead Man's Tale craftable, which makes sense because I think Dead Man's Tale was one of the very first exotics where we had a changing perk on it. But something I'm going to predict as well is I think the Hawk community is going to get this kind of treatment as well, because it again has changing perks on it. It would make a lot of sense if you were able to craft them. But in other and more interesting news, there was actually something really strange going on the Reddits, and I completely missed this, but I ended up hearing about it because of this Games Radar article that they made about it. So apparently a lot of players for World of Warcraft ended up making up a secret boss called Glorbo, and what happened was when they started posting things like this on Reddit, some articles that were completely AI generated end up picking this up and running with it as a story, which I personally think is just brilliant when they're trying to expose articles that is just AI driven. But that also seemed like it wasn't enough, so for some bizarre reason, the Destiny fanbase got involved, and apparently they are now writing articles about a secret boss named Glorbo. So going to the actual Reddit post itself, it is actually a news article that they're showing off, which, yeah, you can just tell this is AI generated completely, but going back down into the comments is probably where we're going to find the really funny stuff. Like literally the top comment, the bit that makes me laugh is, I'm looking forward to the next expansion, final shape the square with no corners. So, yes. Literally the second one is detailing something in the article where you can do apparently 500 damage to Glorbo, and that's a good thing. And he's rightly pointed out that the primary sidearms in Destiny 2 at the minute are doing 7,000 pretty much every hit. And literally the reply is literally Titan Bonks doing 22k per hit. And then you don't even have to talk about the linear fusion rifles doing 60k a hit. So yeah, it's quite an amusing article. If you want to go and read the official article here, then you're going to have to try and find it. I imagine it's deleted by now. I'm going to quickly have a look. So I couldn't actually find any articles, so I'm assuming they've all been deleted by this point. But I did find this in the Destiny 2 community on Steam. So Hidden Meta Raid Boss Glorbo keeps kicking my butt, and I cannot glitch Robo emote him off the edge since it was patched. As you can clearly see, people are just memeing on it, and you get someone called a Loof Hermit who just says skill issue. It's pretty much the Destiny fanbase in a nutshell. And I'm going to end the video with an interesting comment I've just come across, and apparently the Bing AI has been messed with as well by this. So not only does it think Glorbo isn't real because it's not, it's also saying that the Ghost of the Deep dungeon is also fake, which, if you're a Destiny 2 player and you have the dungeon key, you obviously know that the dungeon is a real thing. So the fact that Bing has been tricked so badly to think that the dungeon isn't real is quite incredible to me. And it just goes to show that AI is going to have flaws when it comes to writing news articles or doing research like this. But when it comes to accredited gaming news agents like Eurogamer and Games Radar, it's pretty much always going to be quality over quantity with them, and it's probably going to be the best way to do it in the foreseeable. Because yes, whilst AI can chuck out things a lot quicker than if a human were doing it, at least you know the research is going into it properly if it is done by a proper person. But that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like and a comment down below, and I shall see you all in the next one.